Hello, Queen. Welcome to my channel. I'm excited to have you here today. We have a very special topic, and it's a really important topic as well. And I really want to specifically talk to you regarding about fertility. And it's a really big honor to be doing this with you. In the membership group, I'm going to give you all the full remedies of what you could do. If you don't know anything about astrology, you're also in the right place. I'm going to tell you what you can do and integrate some of the plans. So if you're already working with a doctor, keep doing what you're doing with the doctor as well. But let's add on to some of the plans so that you have a better outcome regarding about getting pregnant. And I think it's important to talk about either you want to prevent it, or if you are curious about it, or you just want to be a healthy woman, because our cycle is important to us. So this is a reason why I love doing this. Today, we're going to break it down exactly what you could do, add on to the plan that you already working with a doctor. It's not supposed to replace some of the doctor plan that you're having. I think if you integrate spirituality and medicine, I think it's a wonderful factor. Just have things in timing wise. So that being said, let's carry on. So if you have noticed there you're going through an IVF, and IVF is no joke when it comes to monetary investment. It is expensive. It is anything like $35,000 US, United States, to help you to get pregnant. So I want to make sure that you are in a very successful place when you are doing something like that. And second part of it, if you're struggling with your menstrual stress, if you're struggling with your menstrual cycle, that also a good indicating that there's some health underlying issues that you want to be addressing as well. And that's really important. I'm not here to be your physician. I'm here to give you some sort of like alert and be like, hey, pay attention about this. These are the signs and stuff is that's happening. If you're the type of person out there, it's going to write in the comment about, medication, environmental, or, getting the shot or not getting the shot. I'm looking forward having those type of content on your own channel and not so much on here. I'm here to help those are just really struggling and wanting to have a successful plan. So that's my intention. And I want to set certain boundaries of what I'm willing to accept. So that's being said, let's continue. So if you guys don't know what we call it today, let's see, it's called the athlete it's called the female athlete tri syndrome. And this is something that is known that you lose your period. I understand that it's highly promoted about fitness and body types on social media. I'm not trying to blame these people, but I just want to make sure that this is the reason why they might be losing their menstrual. If you don't know what that is, I can quickly show you what the definition is so you have a better understanding or being aware what that might look like in general. So this is what it is. So this is somebody is probably like lost their menstrual either through eating disorder or not eating disorder or overworking out or underworking out. When you lose your menstrual, it's a big alarm of like there's an underlying health problem. I love fitness. I've been in the fitness industry like a majority of my life. That really indicate that in my chart as well. So I really promote fitness, but there's also a healthy balance where you don't have the low energy, you're not having eating disorder, and you're not losing your menstrual cycle as well. And that is really key. And I know that there's a psychological component as well. That's why I love studying about brain in general. And that is so important and key as well. So that being said, I want to go ahead and share you my whiteboard. So every time I start talking, my nose starts to itch. I don't know why, but this is what I'm trying to create here today. And this is the underlining plan that we're having today. So the first thing, you obviously want to check up with your doctor, and they say, okay, you have some issue in this way. Great. At least, there's something that you can work with, right? So what is the next plan after this? So I would go ahead and figure out, if you know astrology, great. If you don't, that's totally fine as well. You can use the moonologies. So that's what I like to use per se. One of the moonology is like, you can check where your moon is. Or to start off with, I would go and check your annual perfection year. So find out if it's the right year to get pregnant, to have a baby, and whatever age that is. Okay, that's the first thing. Find out if it's the right year that you're having a baby. Number two, I would even check the moon cycle to help you to have a higher chance of getting pregnant as well. So I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like. And if you are a Jyotish community, that's what I practice as well. And I practice on the tropical side for those who have a better understanding of that part. But it wouldn't matter. You don't need to know astrology to figure this part out, at least. So we're going to start off with the entry level. So I'm going to go ahead and share you my other screen here. And the screen I wanted to be sharing is this screen right here. Okay, so if you're already going through the treatment, you need to figure out what is your cycle. So you're going to go ahead and figure this out right here. So you're going to type in astroseek.com, right? And then you're going to type in the date and the time. I'm just going to pretend this is it. It's not a real person, okay? I just want to give you guys examples of this. And you're just timing it based on the moon, okay? So it also do prediction of gender as well, which is great. It's so nice to have something like this as well. So we're going to go down here and figure this part out. And it's telling me it's a boy, girl, whatever that might be. Know that this is a alert sign. So it could means like, okay, there's a number of harmic aspect is just an important factor if you are wanting to conceive. So you just have a look at this, okay? This is just according to your moon cycle. And that's one thing that you can do. They said that, you want to do it before 2 to 3 days before this date, right? That's what it's recommending here, or 24 hours. So they say a growing moon is practically a waning moon, right? A waning moon is really important for that. Waning moon is like a slow growth, and then waxing moon is it's a growing. So you have a higher chance. But either way, it works both ways. But you just know what your cycle is and have this in your calendar. Okay. Yes, they can predict if it's a boy or girl based on like where the moon is hitting on that day. Great. So you have this in plan. Okay, now we want to know if this is the right year for you to be conceiving, right? Yes, we can talk about meiosis. This is my favorite part. Cellular meiosis. This is how X and Y chromosome happens. I can walk you through it, but I'm not going to do that for somebody who's like on the intro level. Okay. This is just pure science, but we're just doing the spiritual component first. Okay. So you're going to type the annual professional year chart. Okay. And just pick any of them, whatever, whoever this is. So we'll just pick that person. But I actually created my own. So I can actually zoom in and share with you what that might look like. So, okay, I'm going to share it with you. Okay, so this is a good example. I'm going to try to zoom it up so you can see it a little better. You can have a screenshot right now before I walk you through this. This is really important. This is a high chance that you can get pregnant here. And I'm going to have to draw over this a little bit so that you can have a better understanding of what you're looking at. For the Jonas community, I'm going to try to do it with the North and South Indian chart in a bit. Okay, so fifth house tends to be the house of baby right here. This is fifth house. These are the years or age most likely. Oops, sorry. I'm putting the wrong undo. Sorry, this is the fifth house. This is the age group here. These are the age that's most likely have a higher chance and a better chance of actually getting pregnant, right? I'm not going to say 4-year-olds. Let's start realistically back in the time. Yes, there's a good high chance you can get pregnant at 16, 28, and 40. I'm going to say, based on science wise, you're going to be least likely to get pregnant and as the age goes up wise, right? So this is the age group. But you can say, oh, what about if I'm not that age anymore, right? Is that the only time I can get pregnant? No. But I'm just saying in general, those are the high chance that you can get pregnant. The next age group that you're most likely wanting to get pregnant is your ninth house period. So let's do another color. Let's do pink. This is your ninth house. So I'm not going to start with 8-year-old because that's really unrealistic in general. I'm going to move my cursor a little bit there. So this is the next age group that you can get pregnant. Okay. High chance is blue, right? Least likely, it's like the other age group. And then we can go on and move into a different age group, would be 24 here. So this is when the ascendant, okay, this is the first house right here. These are the age group right here. You can possibly get pregnant. Okay. So, I have a few clients have underlying issues, medical, either they're diabetic or had cancer, or they have an immune system. They still can get pregnant. Okay. It doesn't matter the odds of like your underlying health problem, that's an ongoing. But when it comes to a specific year, this is the time, this is how it's going to happen, right? So that's what I want to start off with. Okay. So for those who don't know anything about astrology, if you're in this age period, this year, that's great. Okay. So I want to show this same component here through a chart that I want to show here. Okay, for the Jyotish community out there, this is for you as well. Same thing. If you don't know anything about astrology, I just put, this is just a random time. Okay, this is like almost like a consulting chart at this point. This is right now, right here is your first house, right? That's the least, well, you can get pregnant during that time. The ninth house is another factor right here. Okay, this is a high chance, which is, I'm going to draw it with the blue, which I did over there on the other side. This is the blue. That is the most likely when you can get pregnant. Okay, but if you have what you call Saturn there, I'm going to tell you how else you can do it. Okay, when it comes to the remedy in general, I want to make this video in a way it's like it makes sense for somebody who's a beginner and doesn't know astrology and they just need those information. That's totally fine with me. So I'm going to be flipping my screen again and sharing you another remedy of what you could do about certain things when you're kind of struggling. So I hope this so far makes sense when it comes to that. Okay, when it comes to the complexity of getting pregnant and not knowing if this is the right time, or, you can always do mantras. And mantras are really great for that. If you know Sanskrit, great. you can do mantras for this. This is going to be very helpful. And if you don't know what it's a mantra and you can't pronounce some of these words, why don't you play it on a YouTube video right here? Just type in the name, and that will be one component of it. So that is one remedies that I love to do when it comes to Jewish in general. So there is many remedies that you can do. You can also obviously go and click here, 10 powerful mantras for getting pregnant. Okay, so there's many things that you can go and do for yourself in the process when you are going through some sort of treatment in general. Okay, and sometimes it's not the woman, right? So now we're going to be specifically talking about charts in general. So I so far have talked to you regarding about the Astro Seek right here, right? How to do that, what you need to do, right? That's the plan right here. Type that in, figure out what your annual year is. If you don't remember, it looks like that. If you like my drawing that is better, that's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and share that right now again so that you can do a screenshot of it. Okay, so everybody see that. You can do a screenshot of this. It's a nice close-up on that. So you have a better understanding where to go. So look at the 5th house, what's there, okay? 9th house, what's there? What's in your ascendant? Perfect, okay? So hopefully that kind of makes sense so far for those who are just not into astrology or just don't have a clue or still learning or whatever that might be. I don't care. But what I'm trying to do is like give you a simple solution. Okay. For those who actually know how to read charts and or still learning how to do that and trying to figure that out. So there's a few things that you can do for yourself, especially. So I'm going to quickly flip back my chart anyways, but one thing that you want to look is where Jupiter is and where Venus is. Jala means like water, so it simply means that the water houses, especially if it's a 5th house, if you look at your 5th house and it's like a water sign, which tends to mean more likely that you can conceive, because there's a reason why Venus is exalted in Pisces, and water sign in that 5th house is children, right? So, and if we go back to meiosis, fluidity is really important. Okay, so those are the signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Okay, and then the semi fertile in general are Libra, Taurus, and Capricorn. Okay, so it's Libra, Taurus, and Capricorn. Okay, what they call it today, the bearing sign are like Aries, Gemini, Leo, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Aquarius. Okay, just for like the example I just showed you in the timing of the moment, it has Saturn there. We can go back and have a look at that. Okay, so most of the time the bearing signs are Gemini, Leo, and Virgo. Okay, so that kind of makes sense so far. Just have that in the back of your mind first. Now we want to figure out where Jupiter is hanging out. Is Jupiter hanging out in the first sign, right? We know that Jupiter throws a certain aspect based on just Jyotish community, just Jyotish in general. There's Drishti aspects. So we know that Jupiter is really nice, and it's always going to be throwing a certain aspect. It's the 1st house that is aspecting, the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th house. So that's what it's throwing at. Okay. Okay, so now I want to talk about the challenging age when it comes to childbearing. Actually, the rest of it's kind of a little challenging. But what I want to know is like its sextile, right? Or in conjunct. That's another part of it. So you want to know where the Jupiter is throwing its aspect. Jupiter, it tends to be our inner guru. It's also hope and wishes, and he's the blessing in the sky, right? So I can tell if somebody is writing a comment if they have a nice Jupiter or not, right? I can totally tell right away. So that being said, it's important to have that Jupiter there. When you have a Jupiter already sitting in your birth chart, naturally in your fifth house, it is going to be really hard to not get pregnant, right? It's going to be really, you actually have to do some sort of preventive measurement. And they're going to have a lot of children involved, okay? So that is really important. I want to address right away. So going back to, I want to share you back what I was mentioning earlier about charts in general. So let's go and share that. Okay, so bearing signs, just a reminder, this is where to look it up, okay? So we can tell which one is great and which one is like not a great time. You can also use this part of the moon cycle too. Yes, this is what you can do with the moon cycle as well. So that's how you can integrate the two and two together, if that sort of makes sense in general. Okay, so we talk about the annual reflection and the how to look at it. All right, and then we did talk about the mantra, which is really great. And then I want to go back to looking in the chart again. So let's go back and look at the chart. So let's share. Oh, I don't want to share it to another human being. Here we go. So, for example, here, if we look where Saturn is sitting, and it's sitting really in the fifth house, and we know that Aquarius, it's not considered to be the most, fruitful place to be, and Saturn is there for a reason. Saturn doesn't deny. I want to repeat that again. Saturn do not deny, okay? And what it simply means that Saturn wants you to put some structure, right, in there. Some sort of structure. That's either checking your temperature, making sure you're properly ovulating, you have some sort of system and schedule, right? Saturn does never deny that. And where Jupiter is sitting right here, it's only aspecting either the fifth, and the ninth house. So the fifth and the ninth house. So that's where it's aspecting that. So when you clearly see that, what we could do, okay, this is the disclaimer out there. If you're going to use this method and you're really good at astrology, use it at your own caution, okay? It's a little bit witchy, but it works. Okay. What I would do here is I'm going to go back and share my screen again. And I'm going to tell you exactly what needs to be done. Okay, so you can integrate your soul with another human being. That could be someone who's alive or dead or whatever that might be. Just for example, for that chart, I would have to say they had a fifth house in there and it's an Aquarius. What I could have done is maybe help get a Jupiter or even Venus there. Venus means like beauty in general. We need some water that's happening in there to help out with that Saturn there. Or you can help out even with Jupiter in their own chart as well. It's still retrograde as well. So I could go and find somebody to like have a blessing in this area or just give it a little bit of boost in that area. And in this case, we know that Saturn is right there at 22.33 degrees there. So I could help and find somebody chart that has that Jupiter in that sign, and it's in the Aquarius sign, right? And I really want it to be in the 5th house to help with that blessing. We can try it with other charts. You can just try it. It doesn't hurt to try, but you want to make sure there's also a positive aspect. I do want a female to help me so we have a better understanding and integrating. I know we're dealing with a chart that is like zero, literally is like a 0-year-old, not even a day or two. So there is not a lot of people out there, but you can always search for other different databases of celebrities, whatever that might be. What you really want to know if they have a positive aspect, right? Is Jupiter is in that degree. The closer it is, you can get it like even as a cusp if you want it to be that way, and that's totally fine as well. And you want to make sure it's a positive aspect. There's a lot of reds here. You don't want that. You want more green or blue in that way, whatever that might be. And you just click down until you find the one that is right. And what you do is just printed it out, and then you just carry it with you until like you're able to conceive. And so you just do that. That is one example of one of the remedies that you can do with. Yes, diet has a big factor in it. Spirituality is another big factor that you can use to help integrate with this as well. So, like I was saying to you, these are the few things that you want to do to help you to have a higher chance of conceiving. So we can go back to the drawing board. So we know that we need to deal with our cycle if it's the right year. If it's not the right year, I don't want you to stress about it. If you're like 36 or whatever, the next time is 40, right? But like you have that in the back of your mind, there's a higher chance, and give yourself a little bit of a break in that process. We already know not only that is when you are about to move, they say the baby is about to come, your house of resident, your house of resident is going to be changing, right? So that's the 5th the 12th, yeah. So on the 5th to the 12th, that's when the house of change that happens. So sometime when you move, you end up actually being able to conceive. There's obviously change of work too. There's a reason why they said if you're in your creative space, the death of your career happens. It's because when you are pregnant, and somewhere in most country, they support like maternity leave. It depends what country you're in. I know in Canada it's allowing, the States, it's just different. And I think across Europe in general, you're allowed to have a maternity leave. So that's really important. So this is all a big factor that is involved. So you can see things like that. The D5 chart is really important to look at as well, because the D5 is going to tell you about your children in general, and it's important. If any of this is already overwhelming, I honestly would actually hire an astrologer to help you is specialized in this area. Every astrologer is different. And I really recommend you just hiring an astrologer to help you figure this out. Sometime horary is going to help you as well to get the right doctor and the right treatment and so forth, because $35,000 for an IVF is very expensive. And to have a miscarriage, it is very misfortune on the couple. It does affect the 4th house. It does affect, you know, yeah, even like if even you count in general, it does. Like if you go 4th from the 5th, that is the house of debt, right? So any sort of traumatic experience that happened from the 5th affects the 8th house as well. So that is a very stressful, and this is a reason why I'm wanting to help you out. So I want to be like in summary wise, I want to make sure that I mentioned that we talked about Jupiter and Venus has to be aspecting or conjunct or sextile, right? Or even Rashi aspect as well, or Drishti if you want to call it that. So that means when Jupiter is actually conjunct, meaning it's in its own sign. Otherwise, it goes fifth, seventh, and ninth. Okay. Venus doesn't really have an aspect. So Venus itself has to be just sitting there. So, and we know that already in general, the fifth house, you have a higher chance of getting pregnant if it's like a water sign, right? Water sign. And another component as well, we also have seen and then water sign, and then we're just really focusing on the mantras, right? So mantra is really important. And figuring out if it's not the mantra, then we're figuring out the moon cycle, which we already talked about as well. And that will kind of helps everything integrate everything all together. If not, obviously go and hire an astrologer that focus in that area. Okay, so there is hope out there. I'm not saying it's gloom and doom. Don't give up, obviously, if you're trying to conceive, because I know how stressful it is, because I can look at the chart in general and yeah, just to find out what's actually happening when children is not being conceived, and it's very, very, very stressful in a relationship as well. So this is the reason why I'm doing what I like doing. And then in my membership, I'm going to be sharing you more stuff of how to actually get it all together. But I definitely want to give you guys hope in this area. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, just write the comment down below. I'm going to try to clarify anything that needs to happen in the membership. So it's going to be a longer video as well. So that being said, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you so much for sharing and being here with me and learning about this and celebrating life in general. So I think that's such an important component. And women create life, and that's beautiful. And having control with our own cycle and our own health is so vital. And it's so important to have that joy in our life. And kids are joy, and that's part of the Jupiter component of it as well. So I really wish you all the best, and I'm really excited. And let me know if you have watched this video and some of the tip is has been really helpful. So I really am grateful for you joining me here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right. Thank you so much, Queen, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.